Testing 1, 2. My goodness. Look at that girth. Holy buckets, man. Let's get close up slowly.
Look at Roy. Roy looks like a superhero.
Roy looks like a
superstar. He's my hero.
No, superhero.
Poor devil.
Nice
You got
logo.
no
Nice hat.
no
Spread one.
aspirations.
Buy a car from Chase Chevrolet, you get one.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
Why don't you bring Betty a hat? Don't you ever think
Why do
about
you
things like
always
that?
have me do something?
Betty would like to have a
Stick
hat.
that microphone a little further
Yeah,
back.
and speak it,
We'll figure
out
it out.
here and speak.
They're going to hear you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Woosah.
You're good. You're good right there.
Oh, you're live?
He's live. Look at him. Aye, look at that.
If my name was Mike, I'd say we're on the mic with Mike.
Who?
Oh, is that Ernie?
Okay.
We ready, Betty?
We have people.
We are ready. TVOSJ.org right here, the voice of San Joaquin. And now, of course, we have St. Mary's Sports.
No,
Vámonos.
we're the car guys tonight.
Chase car guys, right?
Chase car guy. Oh, God.
Go for it.
We ready to roll?
Yep.
You are rolling.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Chase Car Guys. You used to be called the St. Mary's Rams Sports, but that's next Thursday. But anyhow, welcome
That's
aboard. Of course, we waited for Roy again. That's why we were a little bit tardy. Roy forgot to make a few phone calls.
And my boss is watching today. You wanna
That's
say
okay. That's
something
okay.
like
We
that?
got the key under the mat,
I
and we're here.
understand.
Anyhow, we're gonna have a great show for you. We're gonna talk about the sales department of Chase Chevrolet tonight. We have two good kids because they're a
They're
lot
not
younger than I.
kids.
They're young men that work for Chase Chevrolet, and without any further ado, the mouth of Chase Chevrolet, Mr. Roy Morales or Morales. Go ahead,
Thank
Roy.
you very much. That was a very nice introduction there.
Very
love
nice.
it, love it. Hey, this is our just to let you guys know, the millions of listeners out there. Just to let you know, this is our 5th episode of the Chase Car Guys show. That's hard to say. Chase Car Guys show.
Only Roy.
Anyway, we've covered many topics, but one that was definitely on my mind because it's near and dear to my heart is the sales department. And both Rick, my compadre over here, Rick, and myself have been involved with sales with Chase Chevrolet for a long, long time. Now Rick is involved with finance, and I'm involved with the community, but we both sell cars as well. And I was really looking forward to this topic, the sales department, because we have a terrific sales department, and we have two outstanding young salespeople that do an absolutely outstanding job. And anyway, I thought what we would do first is we'd go ahead and have each of you introduce yourselves. Maybe how many years at Chase Chevrolet, and also how did you end up? Maybe your little path to car sales. How did that kind of fall into place? So
Awesome. I'm going to jump in. My name is Juan Garcia. I grew up in Linden, California, right around the
Linden.
corner. Yeah.
Linden
from
Lions.
Linden Lions. And, being a young man and living out in the country, you're always looking for transportation. And I remember when I turned 16, I was fortunate enough to get my license. And I said, hey, I've been working on this time with my dad, and I want to get a car, but, figure out till 18. And I remember going to one of these tent sale things where they have these big tents. They have these sales guys stand around, and they asked me for all these things that were new to me. And at the time, I was washing cars downtown Wilson Way with my buddy, washing cars. And they would once in a while have me help customers. And the customers would say, man, you're not a salesman, meaning that I was sincere. And I think, and I attribute that to my mom. She's always, told me to be nice and sincere with people, be kind of just show yourself and be nice. And being one of 8 kids, you get to meet and to talk to a lot of people, just in my own house. So I was fortunate with that. Anyways, when I got the chance, I joined the Chase Chevrolet team. I just had an anniversary. It was August 26th, 2003 is when I first started. I think I was 20 years old, and I had three.
Started at 20.
Yeah, yeah. I had.
Wow.
Well, I started at 18, and I started in the car business. For a lot of people who are maybe too young, was a little bit after 9/11. You know, unfortunate event, but it was a lot of things swirling around, and I've just been in the business since 2001. So I've seen the ups and the downs, and the recession that I'm happy that is behind us now. But I just love what I do and helping people. And those who know me, I think it comes across that way. And, you know, that's how I got into the business. So my key things when I got into the business was to always be not nice or not always be friendly, but to be sincere, because I'm going to be helping people that I might see at the grocery store, might see them now at my son's school, or, you know, just people, because I'm in from the community. So my biggest thing was to just, you know, always treat people right, to where when I saw someone at the grocery store, I give them a high five or ask them how they're doing. And
Juan, just so you know, we only have an hour.
oh, okay.
Let Diego in.
No,
here.
okay. Long story short, you know, I'm not the most successful, but I've always been top in sales with the help of the great management and owners. And you know, with my experience, I'd really appreciate what the community's done for Chase Chevrolet and what we do for the community. But you know, that's my little quick story. So I'm gonna jump off and let my buddy jump in.
Okay, Diego,
Okay.
you're up, baby.
Hello. So for everybody watching, my name's Diego.
You have a last name.
Diego
Dave.
Cordero.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I started at Chase a few months after I graduated high school, Lincoln High School. I started in 2015.
Were you about 18 when you started?
I was 18 when I first started.
Wow.
Isn't he sharp? He just left high school, you said. Good job, right?
I was,
I just want to clarify that.
Before facial hair.
I was very fortunate, you know, to find a company like Chase that was willing to take a chance on, you know, a young guy out of high school that basically knew nothing. I knew about cars because my dad's a mechanic. That's as much as I really knew cars wise.
Right.
As far as talking to people, I pretty much in high school I used to talk a lot. I always got in trouble for it. That's as much as you know I really knew. But you know, cars have always been something I really enjoy, in whether it's sports cars, trucks, even minivans, everything. Everything about a vehicle excites me because that's what gets you from A to B. And I've always had dreams of having nicer and better cars. Where else can you drive any car you want and not have to buy it?
There you go.
I have a quick question that comes to mind. We've had Hispanic salesmen there even when back in '86. The late and great Fred Godinez was probably our first. We had Michael Barron before him. But anyhow, modern day, you both have something that I wish I would have done when I was in high school, learn Spanish. Tell us how that helps you guys get the extra deals that maybe a gringo like me doesn't get. But Juan, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is we are sincere and really here to help the Hispanic community, where in other places that I've seen and I've heard stories, when they see that people are in a distressed situation or don't understand what's going on, people have been taken advantage of. And when we made a big push to really take care of the community that takes care of us, it's really paved the way to where people come in and they just say, hey, my friend came in and this happened. They went somewhere else. They got treated wrong, didn't get respected, or didn't get approved. And you guys got them approved. And so, you know, in California in general, even though, you know, I love the USA, I love California, Spanish is a second language that's used all the time. So I really feel that with being bilingual, and this isn't just in car sales, but maybe just people who are listening, you know,
right,
yeah, just in general, if your child or your children can speak it, and maybe, you know, I have a goal of speaking Cantonese because it's an upcoming language in the world, you know, projected. But anyways, we have on hand at all times at least 4 bilingual salespeople. Our service department's got 2 or 3. Our oil change area. So we're always welcoming any type of language to our dealership. I know sometimes, like, and this is to get away a little bit, but our Indian community or the Laos, I've been fortunate enough to help a lot of people who are in the sign language community. You know, we do the talk to text or we write down stuff. So it just, you know, it's important, but we take on all different languages and help everyone out in general.
And the other thing to think about before you jump in, I just wanted to say is that probably I would say about 60%, if not more, of our business is from the Hispanic business, you know. And it's
What'd you say?
It's
How
not
much?
about 60 probably.
I'd say maybe more than that.
Yeah,
I
I think.
probably a
Well,
little
I
bit.
think
But you're in the right
I
area.
think the stat is 60% of some type of Hispanic last name. It doesn't mean they only speak Spanish, but
Right,
yeah,
right.
it could be Rodriguez, all English. But you know, coming from where I come from, we never have slow times, but through the little breaks and this and that and the bad weather, we're fortunate to have this awesome business and ag community that's always been with us, and we've always backed them up also. So that's been a big thing. You know, I grew up around farm labor, and we help anyone out, whether it's a guy who has his own grass cutting business, you know, like a landscaper, to a guy who moves around and picks cherries and walnuts up and down California. You know, we have a program for everyone.
Yeah.
And then I just wanted to add, you know, like you said, what, you know, how it makes us feel helping out, you know, the Hispanic community. For me, growing up, I grew up with 2 parents, the, you know, Mexican mom, Mexican dad, that didn't know much. So every time I see a family come in, I really, it touches home. It makes me feel like that's how we were at one point. And fortunately, we never got taken advantage by people. So I really like to pass that on every time I can, help them out as best I can, whether it's helping them make the decision. Just, it really makes me feel good that at the end of the day, we're not taking advantage. We're helping them as very much as possible, like other people did for me and my family, or would have done. You know, you always want to do to others what you would want.
There's an old.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll get you here. One guy told me, Mr. Miller. He was probably my age when I started. I was older than you when I started, but not much. I was like 29, and I think this is a motto that Chase Chevrolet covers. Been this way for as long as I've been involved, since 83.
Whoa.
You can shear sheep every year, but you only can skin them one time. And so that's always been in the back of my mind. Yes, it's nice to make a lot of money, but at what expense are you doing that?
Yeah.
And not only the 60%, like you said, and I think it's a little higher than that,
Probably.
Hispanic, our business is probably 75 to 80% repeat business or referral. So that means we're doing something right.
Right.
Go ahead, Roy.
And the other thing too is that our business is, you know, and you guys all know this because you guys are, you know, I mean, with the years of experience that each of you have, you know, because you've been selling since 2000, is it
2001. Yeah.
So that's like 17 years, 18
Rough,
years, right?
yeah.
You've been selling cars for 18
Yep.
years. Wow, isn't that amazing?
Almost the
And
time
you-
I've been alive.
And you've been, almost this time, yeah, and you've been selling now for how long?
For almost 5 years. This
5
March
years.
will be 5 years.
5 years, and you at Chase Chevrolet,
At Chase
and that was your
Chevrolet.
very first sales job.
Yeah.
How awesome is that?
And the numbers are out on him. Nobody thought he'd make it, but here he is.
Oh yeah. There were a couple times where
Yeah.
but that, you know, those are tremendous stories, and probably a lot of the traits that you picked up, you know, just from your stories that you're telling us, came from your family. I mean, you know, there were you learned certain principles from your family that really were valuable when you got into sales, on how to treat people properly, you know, that type of thing.
You know,
And that's always the
I want to
foundation.
jump in there. You do come into that because it's intimidating coming in new, and you say, "Oh, you know, I'm young. I'm going to outrun all these guys and talk to customers." But this is the dealership, you know, for just people in general. If you work retail or sales or anything, and we're really more of consulting / relationship building more than sales, because you come in, and I remember my first 3 months, "Hi, can I help you?" "Yeah, I'm here to see this person." "Hi, can I help you?" "I'm here to see this person." And I must have talked to everyone, and they were there to see somebody else. And I said, whoa, this is the place that I can build that in, because, in 2001, the place I was at before, right around the corner, it was like wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. It was just like kiss and go, get whatever you can and get them out of here. And
that was skinning the sheep.
Yeah, the skin in the sheep, exactly. And even they would preach that, get whatever you can, kick. But this, now we're in at the dealership that we're at Chase. It's, hey, take care of them, and then we're going to help them out on their 4-H, or we're going to help them out on their raffle. We're going to help them out on this. So the involvement with the community is huge. Sometimes I know Roy and Rick are huge into that, and there's many more guys, Ronnie Weiss, a couple different guys we have there at the store that just some days or some weeks do more community stuff than even selling. So we're all one big team.
And it's all part of our job, really, because we all enjoy working for Chase Chevrolet, and we want to, when we're out in the community, we represent Chase Chevrolet. And I know that everyone here, represents them, to the highest quality. One of the things that I was going to bring up was, I remember the transition. I've been there 18 years. He's been there forever. But I remember the transition that was made, because we had an older, an older sales staff that really didn't mirror, ethnicity-wise, our community. And I remember when we went through this transition, and I'm sure that, John Ferriola and John Chase, had recognized that there was an opportunity there. But what happened was really an amazing transformation. And there was two things that we needed to do at that time, because we had an older sales force, is we needed to get young, and we needed to mirror our community. We needed definitely, because our Hispanic business had always been strong. But I'm going to tell you this. Once we began hiring the right people, with the right attitude like yourselves, what happened was our Hispanic business began to, just take over. And that was because we had people that could handle that business, properly, and had the type of sales culture that could be successful. And that transition, I'm just telling you right now, that's one of the reasons why we're well positioned, moving into the future, is because of young guys like these guys, And I know they're a little bit older,
36,
you got family and all that, but they're still young compared to. I didn't get in the car business until I was in almost late 40s, but it's pretty amazing the transformation that has happened. One of the things that I want to ask you about, because I think that it's important for our listeners out there to know a little bit about this, is that there is a perception. Okay.
Oh boy, here we go.
And this is an
Wait
important
for it.
one
Wait for it.
Here he goes.
for
Roy.
you guys to be able to explain,
Yes.
because we deal with this every day, and that is, there is a certain perception that the customers have regarding car salesmen. And we've all been through it, you know what I mean? So tell me the perception that you have to work through to break through. What is the perception of the customer coming over the curb?
So there's two perceptions. There's the perception of the people who have previously shopped or experienced the Chase Chevrolet experience, and then there's the new perception. So the first one is, we can tell when someone's been there before. They pull up, they get out easy, they say, hey, what's up, guys? What's going on? They're more mellow. They're part of the family,
Right.
because they know that we're there for the long term. But what Roy, I think, is getting to is the new business, the people, because we're getting a lot of people might be listening who just come in from the Bay Area, who just moved into town. We're going to get this new influx of people who are relocating.
Right.
So a lot of it is, and I think we're well trained, thanks to management and ownership, is when they come in, they're just standoffish. They think that, we're the bad guys. They're like jokes like, oh, the lawyers and salespeople are the worst.
Yeah.
So, my biggest thing personally is I just give them their space. I say, hey, man, all the driver's doors are unlocked. My name is Juan. I'll be over here. This is my card. I just want to let you know we're easy and we're the good guys, but I'm here to give you information. And I think with anything, if you provide the information, when the people are ready, or when the customers are ready, whoever it is, when we're ready, then they're more informed. But the biggest thing now is we're welcoming even the new generation, and I'm talking, the phone generation, this generation. Our parts department takes Apple Pay. We have a media department, this and that. But getting back to the perception is, maybe ask around, talk to your neighbor, ask why, your friends and family have bought in with us 5 or 6 generations. We've been around since 1944. But we're the people that's going to give you the space, give you the information. We're not going to beat you up. We don't want your social security number before we can show you numbers. We're easy. I hate to say, we're like a little bit like Burger King. We're going to do it your way, and we're just the nice people.
How do you feel, Diego?
It's funny, and I think the age difference, even though it's not a huge age difference,
Right.
he mentioned one good point, the new generation.
Right.
And then it's funny for me, I feel it's the older generation that's just used to the way that car sales used to be back in the day, that
Right.
you guys are liars, you just want to take our money, you inflate everything.
Right.
And see, those are the people I have. He said one thing, people that have bought from there, they are like family.
Right.
And that's true.
Yeah.
They already know how we deal.
Right.
90% of those people, even if they see an issue, they go, "Oh, I know you guys are take care of it," because we genuinely will.
Right.
But like I said, those people that forever have just always thought, "Oh, they're vultures.
Right.
They just want your money." That's
Yeah.
what, or like he was saying as well, they get out of their car and here we go. They're gonna all swamp us down right away. But in that we really try. I think for me at least, I try even harder with those people. I try hard regardless, but with those
Right.
people, I try to make them a friend because that person will appreciate what you did and they'll be a friend for life.
Is there a couple of things that you do, because you can tell when that veil is up, and they've had a bad experience at another dealership and, that type of thing, and they're thinking that they're going to experience, have the same kind of experience. Is there any things that you do that help to develop a little bit of a relationship, maybe because when we first meet and greet the customer when they come over the lot, that's when they're going to have that
Defense mechanism.
Yeah, defensive mechanism. Yeah, but what do you guys do to kind of break it down a little bit? Just little things that you can do that kind of.
One, as small and easy as it is just ask them about their day. Don't lead into what are you here for?
Right.
That's what they're expecting. They're expecting that because maybe they've been rolling around to 5-6 different dealerships
Right.
and have heard the same lines
Right.
being used with them. I really before I like to find out exactly whether how their day's going,
Little
who's the
conversation.
vehicle for? Yeah,
Right.
conversation.
Yeah.
Where are they from? Huge one.
Right.
With our Hispanic community. Well, hey, if they were from Mexico, what part of Mexico? I mean, genuinely show them that you are a person as well, not just a robot out there
Right.
trying to get them into any car, not the one that they like.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
he hit on one very good thing, which is help them find the one that you like. I've heard stories of, well, this is the one they told me to get, or this is the
Right.
one I told me to approve. I know what our biggest thing is. We always fight and get them the one they want. That way we don't see them in a year or 2 years and say, this car's too small, I can't fit in it, or we always look out that way. And it's not just us, but it's ingrained in us, to everyone. But one thing that he did hit on is we want to build relationships. We're there to roll the metal or move the metal, but we're there to build relationships.
Right.
And to just have customers, it makes it easier for everyone, including customers, us. I had a story. This is a quick story. This happened 2 days ago. A gentleman moved from Fremont to Tracy, and he said, "Hey, I buy nothing but GM. I'm GM person." He went to Tracy, bought one car. They took care of him. Second car, third and fourth car. Once he looked into the deals that they gave him, they weren't really taking care of him. They're actually taking advantage. He happened to be driving by, and he said, "No, all you guys are." And I just slowed down and I just listened to him. And he said, "Dude, you guys are already, they let me go at their best deal, and you guys are already beating it by 4,000. So, if you're listening from a little bits of ways, I recommend that, take the 10, 20, 30-minute drive because, the good thing with us is we're right where I-5 and 99 kind of meet in the middle. So, we're at a great location. Come on down and see us."
Well, and the other thing too is, there's a little bit of a, people don't understand, but there's a road to a sale, and there's a method to our madness, and we hit upon what I'd like for you to explain is why we do certain things a certain way. You know what I mean? Of course, the very first thing that we talked a little bit about was a meet and greet. This is when you're meeting them, you're trying to break the ice, you're trying to uncover that veil so that you can kind of break through and create that relationship with them. But the second area that we just kind of touched upon was the investigative process. When you start asking questions, tell me, how that process kind of works. As far as the questioning of them, you're not showing them a vehicle yet, but you're asking them some questions.
So really, at that point, when, like you said, you're starting to investigate, you want to see what brought them into the dealership. Was it maybe a new family member on the way? Family member now starting to drive. You really want to know. You don't want to be the salesperson that immediately shows them any random car and they're that's not what that's not what we came for. You want to know how many passengers you need. So it just kind of eliminates vehicles.
Right.
If they tell you they're commuters, you don't. You probably are not going to show them a Corvette.
Right.
And it's very important to listen during that part because then you can build the right vehicle for this person. Or
let me jump in right here.
Yeah.
What if you have, and that's happened to me more than one time, you have a husband and wife and they're separate entities. She wants this and he wants that.
Then you sell them both.
Good answer. That's a great answer.
The wife, of course.
It's that's a tough one. Go ahead,
I'm going to jump in, and I think our textbooks call it investigative, but we don't mean like poke around your house or pull your wallet out of your pocket. We mean get the right information. That way, it's a good process. What I mean, like Diego covered on, was, hey, do you need a 6-seater or a 7-seater? Is there someone coming in? Are you towing a certain amount of weight? What do you love about your current car now that you would like to have? What don't you really care about? Are the kids getting big? You don't need that Suburban anymore. Maybe you need a Malibu or Equinox, or maybe everybody knows we carry the GM, but we also have the Lexus, Mercedes, all the foreigns, all the imports, and a lot of other brands there. So
slightly used cars.
Yeah. So it's a really good process to help the customer. It's like a consulting process.
Real quick, and it's happened. That's why I say it. You don't want to be the salesperson that sells a V6 truck to a guy that's towing a lot more. It just doesn't. It puts a big dent in your relationship with that.
Yeah. So
customer.
So the questions that you ask are really important, and I think what happens, is the customer begins to perceive this guy really wants to know, what I'm thinking, what I have envisioned in my mind as far as what I would really like to get. And so with that information, then you guide them. So what happens, let's just say, for instance, you've gone through that and you've, selected a couple of vehicles maybe that you'd like to show them. Tell me the importance of a vehicle walk around and maybe how you might do it, a little walk around. How important is that?
I think that's an important step, just because in the last 5 years vehicles have changed more than the last 50 years. So I'm going to say that again. In the last 5 years, vehicles have changed more than the last 50 years.
Right.
Meaning just little things. We've gone to capless fuel tanks, meaning there's no more cap. And I make sure I show people that. It's been around, but the push to start, meaning you don't need the physical key in the ignition.
Right.
There's some vehicles that to open the hood, you have to pull it 2 times instead of moving the little prop or the little. There's some vehicles that for people who have kids or have hands tied up or maybe physical disabilities, the rear trunk opens or maybe with the wave of a foot. So just being able to show the right vehicle, meaning if someone needs a 9-seater and you just pull around a Suburban, they assume it's going to fit 9. You got to make sure it's 333, or in an SUV it's 323, whatever. Some people prefer the bucket seats, so it's a lot of people will trust us, but I think with the trust we need to not prove to them, but show them what they're getting. And the vehicles now are lasting, a lot longer. Before it was like, 100,000, it's going to blow up. Now it's just warming up.
Yeah.
We're fortunate to have this new Duramax diesel with this 10-speed automatic, and those guys, we see them come in 200,000-300,000 miles, and they just keep running. They don't stop. So
part of what you're saying there, I think, is to find out if they're trading in a car, right? Because that car is going to tell you what some of the features that they're used to, or some of the features you're going to show them that car doesn't have. We see it all the time. A guy trades in a 2000 or 2001 or a 99. Well, that's 20 years old.
Very different.
And just OnStar wasn't one of those cars back then. Just a small thing like OnStar is such a valuable tool, and it's simple. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so that helps the salesman out is to know where to land them. And again, like you said, under the asking them questions as to what they want, because certainly you want them to leave pleased with the decision that they made. All we do basically is give them options.
Yep.
And then that's our job.
And information.
Information, right? They have to make. They're the ones making the payment. It's all on them. And so all you can do is show them options. Hopefully, it leads them to say yes at some point, right?
Just to follow up on what you said about, the trade-in. If the person, sometimes you get an older gentleman, older person that says, "I want a fully loaded this type of vehicle."
Right.
Well, you have to also remember, back in their day, fully loaded was leather, manual, power windows, and maybe a CD player.
Yes.
So, and again, if you don't investigate, you don't find out
Right.
that you could probably save this customer tons of money
Right.
by just putting him in the right vehicle,
Right.
not in the fully loaded one nowadays with all the technology.
Hey, hang on, folks. We're getting a phone call in here.
My buddy,
Let me jump in.
hang on.
So
Our fellow,
What a question coming in?
go ahead, Chip.
you're on the air, Chip.
You're on
You're on the air, Chip.
we
Go
can
ahead.
hear you.
Is that everyone over there?
Chippy
They
just
wanna
had a
know if
birthday
Irwin's
too.
here.
I think his
Irwin-
Wi-Fi
Irwin,
and
he
his,
just left.
his
Yeah,
mobile
he's
phone's not
here.
working right.
Honest. I want to know why they're not putting more camera on him.
That's a good question.
Yeah, we got to talk to the production staff and why that doesn't happen. Do you have a real question for anybody here, Chip?
I know I don't know in the air. Okay, I got to take off on delay thing. So anyway, how long have you been selling cars?
Who?
Morales.
18 years, he
Actually,
said.
actually,
Now, if you were listening to the show from the
actually,
beginning, he told you.
actually,
18
Chip, you have to be
month-
sober to be on the radio.
Actually, this month, 19 years.
Awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going to have to cut you off at that question because that was a very difficult
Yeah.
one to answer.
All right, buddy.
All right. Thanks
You
for
know,
calling
Thanks
in,
for
though.
calling,
We
Chip.
appreciate
Bye,
it.
Chip.
Getting back to what Diego said
Yeah.
is right now I feel, and I know this because we have a bunch on the lot, GM in general, or our dealership, Chase Chevrolet, we're pushing the envelope with technology. When we have a couple cars there with the Super Cruise, meaning you punch in the address and it drives itself. We have the hybrid battery or the charging
Self-parking
hybrids.
vehicles.
The ones with the lane detection, self-braking, pedestrian alert. So those are options like they're talking about, showing the customer the features that are more recent, in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Well, because when you look at this process, each step of the process, what it does is it builds confidence between the customer and you. Because what you're doing is you're providing them a great service, and that is to try to lead them in the right direction, move them in the right direction to something that they're going to fall in love with. So the vehicle walk around is an opportunity for you to even get tighter with them because you're showing them the vehicle, you're walking around the vehicle.
Exactly. You find out what's important to them.
Right.
Is safety a big concern?
Right.
There's many people that fortunately have been saved in our vehicles.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
involved in a tragic accident.
Right.
But for whatever reason, one of our safety technologies just really helped them out.
Right. And they're going to want that on the
Exactly. You're not convincing them not
vehicle. Now
to
tell
get
me
that.
this. Tell me this, okay? As we're moving through the process, the demo drive. The demo drive is actually where they can feel the wheel.
Yeah.
How
Makes the
important-
deal. Feel the wheel makes the deal.
Makes the deal. There you go.
That's Larry
coming
Bocha.
from an old car salesman.
That's
there.
Larry Bocha.
But tell me
Julio.
about the importance it is. I mean, once you've gotten up to that and you're demo driving them, are you feeling rather confident?
Since I was in the car business 2001, it was like, put them in the car's driver's seat and tell them to go. with these new vehicles, I think, not, depending how you want to do it, I always like to drive first, not because we don't trust the people pulling off, but because I can say, hey, I'm a professional driver. I'm going to go in this lane and I'm going to let go of the steering wheel. And as soon as it gets close to the other lane, it's going to recenter me.
Right.
Some people get nervous, and we understand, it's not their vehicle yet.
Right.
Also show off the front braking, without bumping anyone, or show off the auto cruise, and they can get a good, clear vision of how quiet the car is, due to stronger frame, safety. I just think that's, us driving and letting them drive.
How do you overcome the guy that says, "Oh, I just drove one down the street. I don't need to drive this one. I just want to know I just want to know what deal you're going to give me on this thing." I mean, we get those still, right? Okay.
So now there's the option. When I was first started, it was 15-inch wheels, 17-inch wheels, maybe 18-inch wheels.
Yeah.
Now it's 18s, 20s, 22s,
Right.
and they all drive different. Now we have cars with magnetic or magnetic ride, so the cars kind of helps out with magnets. And every car is different.
Right.
They can be the same model, but it's like a shoe. They're all going to feel different.
Right.
I encourage people, even if you're not buying, please come in and visit us and just drive something. We'll all take you on a test drive. Come in and drive and feel the difference with safety, with features.
Everybody's listening to this, so they're going to hold you to it.
Yeah,
So you
come
have
and
to
see
go on
me.
every drive.
Yeah.
Hey, on the demo drive, do you normally have a certain route that you go on, or kind of?
Yeah, I like to. I like to plan a road where they get to experience a little bit of everything.
Right.
Whether it's a sports car, they get a nice
Right.
what would you call that? A nice straightaway where they can
Right.
get on it.
Right.
Truck, maybe feel some speed bumps on
Right,
there.
right.
A
Suspension.
big reason for the test drive as well is nowadays with the new turbocharged engines. Some people come in. I need a V6 or I need a V8.
Right.
And they get to feel the power
Right.
of these smaller engines that are more gas efficient, and sometimes they don't know until after the test drive
Right.
what kind of engine
Exactly.
it is, and they're very surprised by the power of these new vehicles. I mean, we have that Silverado with a 4-cylinder turbo. That
Right.
It's
very fast and
It's
quick.
very fast. Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing. And going through the demo drive, when you're driving back to the dealership, then it's really you've invested a lot of time. I mean, and you've done a professional job, and you've gained the confidence that you needed to gain. So the way that they feel about you, at that point versus when they walked over the curb is a totally different, because you've made an investment in giving them information that they needed to know. And then of course from that point, you go into the office. That's kind of the moment of truth, and that's to be able to get them into the office. Then the paperwork, the negotiation part, and we all negotiate, whether it's on trade and all, whatever's gonna work out for them. And then, of course, the delivery. Once you close the deal, and closing the deal basically is them coming to an agreement that this will work for them, and then and you shake hands. But tell me about how now at the very end we have a delivery process, and I know that's a lot of work. I mean, even though you may have covered some of it, during the demo stages, and talked to them a lot about what are a few of the things that we have to do before they leave.
So sometimes that's actually the hardest part.
That's the longest part.
That's the
right?
longest part,
Right.
exactly, because there's so many buttons in there, and you really want to make sure that your customer at least leaves knowing the
An
basic
idea,
stuff.
yeah, basics,
hazard
yeah.
lights,
Yeah.
windshield
Right,
wiper.
right.
But then you get into the Bluetooth, so you have to go over the Bluetooth, connect
Right.
their phone,
Right.
OnStar, make sure that
Yeah.
that can be very important because once they leave,
Right.
and if you failed to do the OnStar, you don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
So and especially if you told them about it, you want them to be connected as they leave.
Right.
But the delivery part is the longest, but also my favorite part, because then you see the customer. Now they're just focused on being happy with their vehicle.
Exactly.
So it's not
The bond is becoming stronger
it
at that point.
solidifies
exactly
the
They
relationship.
see some things that maybe you didn't explain to them before
Right,
they
right.
bought the vehicle.
Yes.
So now they're emotionally they're even happier now.
Right.
Let's face it, for a person even my age, and I'm around computers a little bit, not as much as you guys are, but it's overwhelming. I mean, there's so much stuff to learn. And let's face it, after they say 15 minutes, with me it's 5, you lose their attention span. But
Yeah.
so we do have a class every first Wednesday night. In fact, it's going on
Tonight.
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 So the first Wednesday for you viewers that bought cards from us, and God, I feel like a dummy to go back and ask them something. That's the night to come out. The first Wednesday night, we have salesman on staff. Ron Weiss runs it. You come out and you say, hey, you know what? I forgot how to do this or that, and somebody's there to help you. I know our service department does a good job after the fact as well, but keep the connection. There's no dumb questions. I mean, there's so much on these cars. Feel free to get us back involved. And
Rick, I've had some people who buy a vehicle at, let's just say, a non-GM, or let's just say a off-brand vehicle, and they're driving through and say, hey, my Bluetooth's disconnected. Most of us there, because we touch them all day, even if you don't buy from us, just come in and we can help you with your radio, setting this up, helping you with the options, resetting something. Like I said, you don't have to buy from us to come to this class. Just come in and touch the water, see how friendly we are. But what Diego was talking about was the app, or he didn't touch on the app. So there's an application where you can start, turn off your vehicle, look at tire pressure, oil pressure, all from a computer or from your application.
or from your phone, right?
From your phone, yeah, from your phone. I've been, furthest I've been is I've been on the other side of the world almost, and someone said, hey, I left something in your car. I unlocked it with my app, and then I locked it with my app, and we help with all of that.
How about when you're in an amusement park and your wife says, did you lock the car? And you go, I locked it. I know I locked it.
Yep.
But then you have that app. You can go back and make sure.
The other big one is if when you get to work and your tire looks a little low and you're like, oh, man, I got to go to my job and my tire looks like it's about to go flat. You go on your app, you refresh it, and it'll tell you that tire, it's at 15 PSI. You hit the tow truck button, and you can be working, and they'll take care of your flat tire. So there's just a lot of features, and we encourage people to come back. Like Rick said, don't feel, I didn't learn everything. Yeah, come back and see us. Let us really explain you the vehicle that you just purchased.
The other thing, too, that a lot of people, people can lease or they can purchase. And there are advantages, to both, How do you guys kind of explain that to your customer? I mean, in a simple kind of way,
I think they're both great programs, depending how the factory, because from the dealer side, we're always helping out to the max. But sometimes the factory turns on certain programs that benefit one over the other. Sometimes people's driving habits benefit one over the other. So, just communicate with us, and we can show you both ways and give you the time to decide. Just because we show you numbers doesn't mean you need to buy on the spot. We're there to give you the information. But they're both great programs. We've got strong lease programs and purchase programs, so they're both great.
So I wanted to jump in on that. So actually, the leasing is actually one of my favorite things. I do it.
Right.
And
a lot of people do it.
Really benefits you if it makes sense for you. Like Juan was saying, it's not, as long as it makes sense for you. It's just an alternative way of buying the vehicle. It's not, you're not renting the vehicle like most people, have. They just have that. How can I say that? The perspective.
Right.
The car's never yours.
But let me tell you something. These people on 72 months or 84 months don't own the car either. The bank does.
People who buy 6 or 7 years.
Final payment,
right.
The vehicle is
exactly.
yours.
So it's a similar thing. And for somebody, I'll just say this, and my finance buddies won't like what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it anyhow because I know it's the truth.
Okay.
Yep.
You can say
Thanks,
what's on your
thanks,
heart,
Roy.
Rick.
Anyhow, but if you're the type of person that wants new technology, every 3 years they're going to make a payment. As long as you know you're going to make that payment and you don't want at some point not to make that payment, then leasing would be the way to go. That's very simple. You don't pay all the sales tax. You don't. You're not upside down, so to speak. You're never upside down on the lease, right?
No.
Gaps.
Yeah. And then you have gap in there. Thanks, Juan, for pointing that out. Bill's right now turning
Oh,
over in
I
his
was
chair.
loving you.
But anyhow, but there's some features to that. However, even if you drive a lot of miles, we can figure it in. I don't know that the deal makes any more sense than it would be on a purchase in that case, but there are leases out there that you can do more. So if you're the type of folks, and I was that guy when I was Diego and Juan's age, that I made the payment. I wanted something new every 3 years, so I did it. Now, later in life, when I don't know if I'll be around much longer, I want to have something paid off so I don't leave a burden on
You
somebody.
know, one thing, sorry, with us closing out the 19s for the 20s, on the purchase side, if there's a vehicle maybe that you have that you've been told by other dealerships, hey, you need 6,000 or 10,000 down, going with the purchase. We've got these awesome programs, incentives. You could call them rebates, but they're really a mix of a lot of programs that, with our dealer help and with you guys participating as customers, you could come in close to zero down and wash out this difference that you have with your vehicle that you've been told other places you need a big down payment.
Could you help Roy out because he's in that situation?
Actually, I helped the customer out in that situation today, and they drove off in a truck. We were able to make it work, and the reason why is just like you said, the programs that we had a great program on supplier discount. It happened to be on that vehicle, and then the rebates, the amount of rebates that it happened to be a truck. So basically, what he got in discounts and rebates offset the negative equity that he had in the vehicle, which was quite a bit.
Yeah.
But he was able to drive off in a truck today. He was
Nice.
very pleased, very happy. He knew that he wasn't in a good situation, but we made it a great situation because we were able to make it happen, So,
And then I actually wanted to add to that too. As much as I love leasing,
Right.
sometimes with these Silverados, huge programs
Right.
we have, it doesn't make sense to lease.
Yeah.
You purchase it.
but it's your job as salespeople to
Yes.
Yeah.
ask the questions, because sometimes you're at least after you've asked all the questions, you're thinking to yourself, you know what, this is an ideal guy for a lease. He drives 10 to 12,000 miles a year. He's he qualifies. He qualifies for an excellent lease, and that may work out perfect for him. Whereas others will tell you, you know what? No, I drive my, I keep my vehicles a long time, and the purchase works out better for me. So they'll kind of guide you in that.
And we'll show
that
every
road.
which way.
Show both ways. Whatever
Yeah,
show all the options and whatever makes more sense for you and your family.
You know what I want you to talk about, because I have a tremendous amount of respect for salespeople, because I know what what we go through each and every day. There's a lot of negative that we have to overcome, to be successful. You're hearing no all the time. As a matter of fact, I think there's one, I forget where I read it, but I think you got to ask the customer, I think 7 or 8 times sometimes to get the yes, because they need to think about it. They need to think about what you're asking them. And typically, sometimes what happens is you're being persistent, because that's our job, and you're trying to help the customer get into a vehicle because that's why they're there. So yes, that's part of what we do. And we get an opportunity. We get an opportunity, and and I know that we've all experienced it many times.
Let me just jump in on that because that's very good. However, after I was a salesman for 5 or 6 years, I finally figured it out. I want to ask the no question. A lot of guys will only answer
Yes.
questions with a yes. And I finally figured it out. As long as I keep saying yes, 1 or 2 things. You got a guy that's going to buy, or he's got an issue with his credit or something.
Yeah.
But once you hit that no, that's what you have to overcome
Yes.
to make the sales process
And
continue.
I
Go
think
ahead.
with that, Rick, is we're not scared to hear the no. It's okay for you to be protective. It's your investment, your family's
Sure.
money. So yeah, we're okay with that. We all have families here. I think the biggest thing is when they're saying no, it's like KNOW, that they don't have the information
know.
yet. They
Right.
don't
Yeah.
know.
I
just need
like
to
that
know more.
one. You need to capture that.
I know.
man.
I'm
And your
so-
new book. Your new book.
I am writing a
When's
book,
that
folks,
coming out?
and my statue's getting built soon.
Yeah, that's very good. Though.
So,
I
anyways,
like
yeah, it's we provide the right information, and I think when they see that we're going to back them up in the long run and be with the customer through good and bad times, like the community's been with us, through good and bad times.
Right.
I think it's a big deal to give the right information, and like Rick's saying, we might ask you a question that might make you feel not uncomfortable, but but it's to benefit the customer always. I know, if we ask a certain question, it might be for an extra program or to help you out in the long run, because like Roy mentioned and Rick, we run 60 to 80% on repeats and referrals. So that's a big thing for all of us.
It says a lot about the dealership too, that customers that have bought from us, continue to come back, and they're loyal customers.
So back
go
to
right
just
here.
real quick on that subject, and a lot of people will tell you that hearing no, 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 that's what messes with your mind, makes this job difficult. And I've finally somewhat figured it out that that's not what it is. You can hear no 50 times, but it's how you handle that no.
Right.
It's your attitude.
Right.
And that's what's really, really important, because that could be the end of your career. If you let that drag you down every single day, then you're not going to succeed. But if you manage, there's no way you can make that deal, that's fine. Then you have to rewire yourself, get back out there, and just know that the next one's going to be the one.
Exactly.
Right. That's very true. It's a tough business, and it's a great business when everybody's rolling and going and making all the sales. But you really become a professional going through the tough times, right?
Yes.
Because that's what makes you strong. And I'll tell a quick story about myself. It's your show, but I'm going to tell a quick story. This is when we were downtown, so it was many, many moons ago. I had 0 cars out on the 15th. And I was crapped out, my goodness. Well, a lot of it wasn't my fault. I mean, I was writing people that had bad credit, or they were upside down in their cars, or whatever the case was.
We take all credit.
Huh?
I said we take all credit.
Right.
In all trades.
But, so, Ferrell happened to be in the showroom when I walked by, and he goes, "What's the matter?" I go, "Man, halfway through the month, I got nothing." He says, "Oh, you'll sell 15 cars. Don't worry about it." And I'm thinking, yeah, unless you got 15 in your pocket, I'm going to lose this. So, anyhow, I ended up with 14. But it just goes to show you, mindset's a lot of it. And that's, again, what makes you a pro in this business, is where you can overcome it. I related to baseball. Chip Kniss, I know you're listening. It's a 300 hitter. But guess what? That means he makes outs. What? How many times, Joaquin? 7. 7 times he makes an out before he gets a hit. And he's a 300 hitter, which is a high rate in pro ball these days. So you got to understand that some things are your fault. If it is your fault, you've done something or you missed a step, then yes, then that's a learning tool for you to inspire yourself. But the stuff that comes with it, you just got to, is it my fault or is it just a situation I'm in? And then you got to move on.
I've been very fortunate to work with a lot of people, you guys, you three in this room actually, to see what works and what doesn't. I've met salespeople, young and old, that they're their own worst enemy.
And we've had some self-declared hot shots who used to run other dealerships or be the general manager in another dealership, and they come in and they're just amazed at the positive energy or the energy that the dealership carries. That's a great thing, and that comes from also John and John, that it starts there. My previous place, man, the previous owner was like Dracula walking around.
Hey, we got to wrap this up in about 1 minute. Betty's telling us, thanks, the lovely Miss Betty Ramirez, for
Thank
sitting
you,
in.
Betty Ramirez.
Thank you. Spare of the moment, because Roy didn't make
Good
a phone
job.
call, but Betty bailed us out again.
Betty the bail bondsman.
Just go to you two guys real quick, because we're running out of time. Juan, last statement. Thank you, Juan. Go to. No, I'm like,
I think, Chase Chevrolet, you see us at the community, the high school, the elementary schools, you see us there because we truly care. All we ask is that you give us a shot or an opportunity and come in. I know there's all these online things, this and that, but those are just robots, and we're actual people. We're your neighbors. We're your community members, so come in and visit us.
Diego, you got about
everything. I'll just say, come see Diego Cordero at
There
Chase
you go.
Chevrolet.
That's a good salesman
Hey,
right there.
and I'm going to toss it back to my good friend Roy, who's going to close the show down.
The last thing that
guess
I
I'm
want to
done.
say is this. I hope that our listening audience, this is what I really wanted to kind of get across to our
10
our
seconds,
audience.
Roy.
And that is that your perception of a car salesman should have been changed tonight. Because we brought two young salespeople that know how to handle and negotiate a deal and handle customers properly, so that when they leave with their car, they're fully grateful of the added value that you've added to their entire experience. So anyway, with that, I want to thank both of you for your service at Chase Chevrolet. You guys are going to be super successful, and you're right with the right company. Chase Chevrolet.
Juan Garcia.
Buy into it.
Hey, we'll be back on the 18th,
18th,
of
don't
this
miss.
month. Another show. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Adios.